Good day, everyone, and welcome to the world of the International Fab Talks. When we have people who are ready to join with us and create awareness, when we have beautiful people around us who would like to inspire the world, who would like to share their time and bring about a change in life, in the thought process. When I say life, it's in the thought process. If your thought process is really going on the right track, you will definitely achieve heights. When your mind is not in the right path, that's the time we face a lot of difficulties, including me and including you, I guess, right? So, friends, I don't take much of your time. It's time to introduce our celebrity guest who has agreed to share her time on this very special occasion, that is World Suicide Prevention Day, which is being celebrated every year, September 10th. But in my personal view, it should not be only celebrated on September 10th. Every single day, we should be on the lookout for signs and symptoms from our near and dear ones, our friends, and unknown strangers as well. Are they going to end their lives? And if so, it's our duty to change their thought process and bring them back to the normal state of enjoying life. So, how to enjoy life and all of it, that's a secret that ma'am will be sharing. Our celebrity guest for today is none other than the one and only Dr. Vidyaa Hari Iyer, joining us all the way from Chennai, Tamil Nadu, India. She's a person with many feathers in her cap. If I get to read her profile, it will take at least 15 minutes. So I requested ma'am to introduce herself for all of us today in brief. Hello, ma'am, and welcome to the session. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Good evening. Thank you so much, Crystal, for those kind words. Good evening, friends. My name is Dr. Vidya. I am basically a dentist. I'm also a psychotherapist and a counselor for having more than 3 decades of experience in this field. And today I'm going to share with you a very, very important topic, which is called suicide prevention. And we have divided today's session in 3 different ways. The first one would be a PowerPoint presentation, followed by a pledge, and then there'll be a question answer session. And that's how we'll end the session today.
Wow, that's really interesting, ma'am. Thank you for sharing that. So, dear friends, it's going to be an exclusive session with a PowerPoint presentation and a pledge. That's really nice. I think this pledge should be shared with one and all, and of course, a Q&A session. So, ma'am, over to you to begin the session. Thank you so much for taking out the time and to be present here today to create awareness.
Thank you so much, Crystal. And I'm going to start sharing my screen right away. So, good evening, friends, and thank you so much, Crystal, for this wonderful opportunity and the International Fab Talks. Because, whenever we speak about such very sensitive topics, I guess more and more people need to understand the depth of it and try to help. Every effort that we take to help people is going to go a long way in this journey, right? So let's get started. The World Suicide Prevention Day is basically commemorated on the 10th of September every single year. And September, there is not only one single awareness month, you have many, many campaigns which are not only a day long but a month long campaigns. And you have these blood cancer awareness, child cancer awareness, gynecological cancer awareness, National Recovery Month, National Sickle Cell Awareness, Pain Awareness, and Self Care Awareness Month, along with the World Suicide Prevention Day, right? And this basically includes various ways of how you can combat your lifestyle diseases and support different communities in it. So, September is a suicide prevention month, and the whole idea is to raise awareness and try to make it very public so that people understand that in case they feel sad or they feel depressed, you can, reach out to people who can be a sign of hope and definitely try to change them and their thought process and help them, step back from this dreadful thought process, right? So September 10th is actually a day which is commemorated with the World Suicide Prevention Day, the WSPD. And this year, along with the triennial theme, that is from 2024, 25, and 26, the topic or the theme is changing the narrative on suicide. And suicide is basically not just a one moment thought, it's a convergence of many risk factors, and it is not limited to anybody. It can happen to anyone, anytime. So none of us are, proof from this dreadful thought. So it is not limited only to genetics, psychology, society, and culture, and may be combined with experiences which could be traumatic or a loss which they would have undergone in the near past. And this World Suicide Prevention Day was established in 2003 by the International Association for Suicide Prevention along with WHO to raise awareness on suicide prevention. Usually, the color code ribbon, which symbolizes the suicide awareness and prevention, is purple and turquoise. And each life which is lost has a profound social, emotional, and economic consequences, because it's just not that that person has moved on. You can see it deeply affects their families, their friends, the workplaces, and entire communities around the world. And that is why it is so very important to address this issue on changing the narrative, changing the way they think about suicide. So, World Suicide Prevention Day, as I told you, is in conjunction with the WHO and the International Association for Suicide Prevention. And this purpose is basically to raise awareness across the globe. And the whole idea is to prevent suicide. And that is supposed to be taken very seriously. You can see the turquoise and the purple color ribbon, and this was actually found by Snigman and Norman, which led to the earliest crisis intervention programs, and they established a prevention center at Los Angeles, California. So let's just have a look at what are the circumstances that increase the suicide risk. If you see, most of these people have previous suicide attempts or history of depression or any other mental illness. They have serious illnesses such as chronic pain, criminal legal problems, job or any financial losses, impulsive or any aggressive tendencies. Somebody must have just kept a bet, or must have given a do or dare kind of a situation, a substance abuse when they don't know or in what mental state they are in, or current or prior history of adverse childhood experiences which has led them to expose themselves into such situations and loneliness, and thereby cause suicides. So, what are the warning signs that you and I can actually identify amongst our friends, neighbors, children, and people around us who might have tendency for suicide? One is if they are making suicidal threats, if they are writing some notes, or having saying certain words, negative self view of themselves, a sense of hopelessness or no hope for the future, feeling low, isolated, they don't want to be socially active, they are very aggressive and irritable, they have certain unfinished mental tasks which they are not ready to process and comprehend, and they need support but they are not getting support, or they get support and they are not utilizing the support. Then you have processing lethal means, wherein you get into some kind of a lethal abuse, and thereby you're getting very aggressive in nature. You feel like you're a burden to others. You have drastic mood changes. There is no uniformity in your thought process. You're frequently talking about death or thinking about death. You are causing self harm, like probably taking a blade or a knife and hurting yourself, engaging in risky behaviors. Mostly people you would see in the teenage group, where they want to show off the so-called bravery, and are looking in for risky behaviors, and making funeral arrangements or thinking about what will happen later, giving things away unnecessarily, and getting into a thought process that they're not going to survive the next moment, and of course substance abuse. So these are very important. Now, there is a considerable three-step theory which is very important, and it got its publication publication done in 2015. And this is a concise, evidence based, and actionable theory that explains in suicide in four basic factors, which includes pain, hopelessness, connection, and capability for suicide. So, what is our goal? If you look at it, it is to establish effective, broad based, collaborative, and sustainable suicide prevention partnerships or workshops. And this needs to be done, especially if we spot certain children or young adults who are getting into that mode. Support the upstream comprehensive community based suicide prevention, where we all work as a community and help that one person get back onto their own feet, and reduce the access to lethal means amongst people who are at the risk of suicide. So definitely we all know prevention is better than cure. So these are the things that we can actually look out for. How will you know when the safety plan should be used? When you are looking at people, when you're observing people, you're looking out for those signs. And what do you experience when you start to think about suicide or feel extremely depressed? So you can ask these questions, and you will get those red flags, and you can really work around them. And list all these warning signs or red flags, and basically use it at the patient's own words, the thoughts, that images which comes to them, their thinking process, their moods, and how they process the moods and turn it into a behavior, right? So we need to understand that there are three R's that we are to work around, especially when we are looking into students or young adults. And this focuses basically to recognize the signs of distress, right? So first step is to recognize, second is to respond, and then is to refer. And suicide prevention can be done by asking and being there for people, and seeing that you are keeping them safe, helping them connect, and you're giving a proper follow up. So the first thing that the candidate or the delegate needs to know is they are not alone. And if they are struggling, they need to know that you are there to shoulder that process or walk them through this particular means. So what can you do to actually change your mood, or change your thought process? The first thing is to definitely be physically active, and then stay connected with people, friends, family. Be inclusive in all the home activities and parties. Connect socially. Practice mindfulness, express gratitude to what you have, and the entire journey that you have been. Look out for those spots in your life that has given you the highs, your achievements, and look at it, and then pat yourself, and then move forward. And definitely see that if you're getting adequate amount of sleep, 7 to 8 hours of sleep, especially nocturnal sleep, is so very important, because once you sleep, your the mental stress levels actually comes down. And can you give back to the society? Why don't you start volunteering in orphanages, or in old age homes, where people need your care, and there you will find your self-worth, and this hopelessness would actually reduce, right? And take time to learn something which would help you deal with your stress. You can connect properly, and find out what is it that makes you feel happy, probably the hobbies that you want to do, or things that you really want to take efforts to move forward. The National Mental Health Policy in 2014 and the Mental Health Care Act in 2017 basically gave a lot of information on suicide prevention in our country. And initially, if you look at the IPC section 309, the person who actually attempted suicide was given a term of at least 1 year of prison and fine, or both, right? And then came the BNS, or the Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita 2023, which basically understood the concept that it was not a criminal act, or and it was only a mental change So this change reflects actually the growing shift from considering suicide as a criminal act to right now what it is considered as a mental health issue. So what does the BNS say? It first says the decriminalization of the suicide attempts. So the replacing the section 309 and definitely giving focus on the mental health of people. And so there is a lot of changes both in the societal and the legal perspectives. An exception for public servants, which is an attempt to commit suicide, is still punishable if it is done to prevent a public servant from executing their duty. And the punishment under the previous law of IPC 309, there was an imprisonment for 1 year or a fine or a combination of both, that is imprisonment and fine. And in the international trends, if you look at the international sector, Germany was the first country to decriminalize the attempted suicide in 1751, and then it spread to Europe and North America. So no more, suicide was considered as a crime. It was a sign of mental illness, right? A mental disability that the client or the person was going through. So the influence of psychology came into play, and the mental disorders and mental conditions were understood better, and hence this helped the coping mechanism for not only the person who has abetted suicide, but also people who were connected with that person, right? So the friends, the families. And community service is an alternative because the BNS also provides community service as a potential less severe alternative to imprisonment or fines for attempted suicide. So you understand, like you have Alcoholic Anonymous or AA, you also have communities for suicide prevention. Under Section 306 of the IPC, you basically understand the abetment of suicide. So if a person instigates, coerces, or helps another commit suicide, the abetter can face a punishment or imprisonment for over 10 years and a fine. So to convict someone under this section, the prosecution must prove that an active role by the accused in instigating or facilitating the suicide has happened. And how do we know this? Today, that it's a fashion world of tattoo. So when you see somebody having a tattoo with a semicolon symbol, somewhere which is visible in your body, this basically helps people understand that they have had a crisis and they have chosen to move on, and they are trying to overcome their internal struggle or battle. And hence, it is more important for us as counselors or psychotherapists to actually help these people raise awareness and prevent this, and look into their mental well-being. The first slogan that we need to tell them that they are not alone. We have shoulders to give them, and they can speak, and we are good listeners, we are empathetic, we are not going to be judgmental about their thoughts and their actions, and there would be another chance given, and it is also just okay not to be okay, and then move on and start afresh, and every day is a new day, and then move forward. A slow steady step towards the right direction would take these people away from the thought process of suiciding. So what are the 6 steps to develop a safety plan? First is to identify the warning signs, develop the internal coping strategies, identify people and social settings that actually provide these kind of distractions. Try to find out hobbies or some things which can distract these people's mind. Have a list of safe people whom these people can contact, especially that they know that once these people contact, you will immediately pick the call, and probably they are these 2 a.m. friends that they would just rush and be there at their side, right? And make a list of professionals or agencies to contact during crisis, and make your environment as safe as possible. Be away from these lethal drugs and abuse, so that you don't get tempted to actually go in through that process of suicide. So prevention is what we always keep talking about, and we also talk about promoting mental health and mental well-being, reduce all the risk factors, and intervention, give them ways and means to focus on themselves, self-care, and hence the suicide or the suicide related thoughts or behaviors and actions would reduce. The significance of the World Suicide Prevention Day is basically to raise awareness, reduce stigma, and encourage actions that can save lives. And that is what we are looking at. So, even small acts of kindness, compassion, and understanding would actually make a meaningful difference. Next is a green ribbon. So once you are actually moving from the suicidal thoughts to a thought of wellness, a green ribbon is given so that, to help them understand that we are in solidarity, we are planning to reduce the stigma and encourage open conversations so that, for people who are struggling with such mental illnesses, they can come forward and feel comfortable with themselves. So the Drug Enforcement Administration also recognizes September as a suicide prevention and awareness month by providing resources to educate and definitely help people understand the other aspects of suicide prevention. Nowadays, you have mental health safety apps. So these apps are very safe, and you can work with the app. And these app actually gives you a plan. So these once you go according to the plan, you will be moving towards better mental well-being, like waking up at the right time, doing some kind of a meditation, going for walking or some form of exercise, and then eating right, working right, not having a work-life balance, and then getting into a kind of a mindfulness, and then processing and working around all aspects of health, not only mental well-being but physical well-being, psychological well-being, emotional well-being, financial well-being, social well-being, so that the people have a holistic approach towards themselves. So we are at that state where we are going to take the pledge, and I hope you all are going to repeat after I say, I pledge to raise awareness of suicide in my community. I pledge to advocate to eliminate the stigma surrounding suicide and mental health. I pledge to listen to and support those around me that are struggling with suicidal thoughts or behaviors. With that, I come to the end of the presentation and my pledge. And definitely, anybody wants to contact me, that's my number and my mail ID. And thank you so much, Crystal, for this opportunity.
Yes, dear. Thank you so much, ma'am, for sharing all of that. I mean, there were several points that I didn't know. I've been taking many sessions with different kinds of people, like from different walks of life, sharing about World Suicide Prevention Day. You added an extra touch to that today. Signing off now from the International Talks.
Thank you.
Thank you, dear. My dear friends, with this we come to an end now to the International Fab Talks for today. We've been working on creating awareness on the International Fab Talks with regard to the World Suicide Prevention Day. A good talk, a healthy talk, or a positive talk could help someone overcome the thoughts of eliminating their lives or committing suicide, right? So work hard with them. My dear friends, with this, we'd like to sign off now from the International Fab Talks. Our effort to create awareness on the International Fab Talks with regard to the World Suicide Prevention Day has borne fruit. We've had many guests sharing the journey with us, creating awareness in their own style, in their own thoughts and opinions. Much appreciated from the International Fab Talk team. Each of them have been individually contributing a lot to this platform. We would love to save every single life. If you feel suicidal, if you feel unhappy, that's not the end of your journey on this planet. There's much, much more to experience. Life is a gift. Enjoy it. If you like what we are doing, stay connected with us. Like, comment, subscribe, and share to the International Fab Talks. Signing off now from the International Fab Talks. This is Andrea Crystal, the host and the founder of the International Fab Talks. Have a wonderful time. Keep celebrating life every day. Stay connected.